Many people may have this film pegged as a desperate knockoff of the Taken franchise, and that assumption is partially true. However, you might be surprised to learn that the story and screenplay for this particular film were actually written by Taken's director, Luc Besson. And while the similarities to Taken are uncanny, this film also bears some striking similarities to a few other movies that you may have seen in recent history as well as in the 90s. That said, let me start this review by dispelling one notion I had about the film going in. This isn't an action film. This film comes across as an awkward mix of Taken and Red 2. I say Red 2 because I haven't seen Red 1, so I don't know how some of those two films are, but anyway, you've got the action-y, older actor stuff from Taken, but then you've got some comedic bits that feel like they were lifted from Red 2. And the story had potential, but it desperately needed to go through another rewrite because there were a lot of parts of the movie that could have been altered, if not outright cut from the film. Another problem I had with the film was its tone. I mean, while the action was kinda okay, and the humor added a nice touch, the film just couldn't balance the action scenes and the dramatic scenes with the main character's family very well. This is not helped by the fact that director Mick G was too reliant on the use of montages in scenes where it wasn't warranted. And this was especially during some of the dramatic scenes, and if anything, the use of those montages pretty much negated any weight those scenes might have carried. Even as an action film, it wasn't that impressive. I mean, the action overall just felt mediocre, and it didn't really carry much weight to the story overall. And it did kind of the annoying thing where they'll introduce ideas to increase the tension, but it never does anything with those ideas at all. I mean, Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters did the same thing with Jeremy Renner's character having diabetes. It's pretty much even the exact same case. Both Jeremy Renner's character and Kevin Costner's character in this film both need an injection to stay alive, but they don't do anything with the stuff they introduce to increase the tension, and so really it just felt like a wasted idea. On a final note, aside from the film having whole sequences lifted from Taken, this film has what is probably one of the most desperate attempts to create a sexy femme fatale that I've seen since The Counselor. Again, I've got no beef against Amber Heard. Frankly, I haven't really seen anything she's been in, but really here, she was effectively giving a one-note performance for a one-note character that felt akin to Cameron Diaz's character from the aforementioned Ridley Scott film. It wasn't really so much of a character, it was just a cartoon that was effectively going around shouting, "Look at me, I'm a sexy manipulative woman!" Even though she did nothing in the script that actually conveyed that character. It was just a case of the film telling us that that's what her character is, but never actually having her do anything that actually conveyed that in any meaningful way that actually added to the overall story. It was just desperate and pointless, and one of the many things that needed to be fixed, if not cut from the film. As a whole, this film feels like something that would come about if a foreign executive spent 3 days in a locked room with only American spy action movies and family dramas from the 90s, and then upon emerging deciding to make a movie that was an unholy hybrid of the two. However, it is neither a loving cinephile homage that we would get from Quentin Tarantino, nor is it a quirky comedy like The Tuxedo. It's just a mess. Overall, this film just comes across as a monument to wasted potential. Had they given the idea to a different director, or if it was directed by Luc Besson himself, it might have stood a chance. But as is, it's not worth the full ticket price. If you're so desperate for your dose of Costner, even though you're getting quite a bit of it this year, well, if you're so desperate, just watch this in a dollar theater or stream it on Netflix, or better yet, just wait until April for draft day. That said, I give 3 Days to Kill a 2.5 out of 5. So that's it for this episode of Romney's Reviews. As for next week, I'll be taking a look at 2 films. First up on deck will be Son of God, followed by The Wind Rises. See you then.